Sporgy.
ChristopherMedia.net.
And now a game of Commercial Chicken, brought to you by Progressive, where we see how long Flo can go without talking about insurance. Ready? Go.
So the weather is just all over the place lately, right? One day it's hot, and the next day it's windy for a while. It's like, make up your mind already. Drivers who switch to Progressive can save big.
Okay, you win. We can't help but save customers money. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates.
At LL Flooring, we're pros at helping pros find the right floor for even your pickiest clients. So if they want waterproof flooring, but it's got to be sturdy so their dog can jump around without making a mark, and strong enough to handle the broken, no cleats in the house rule over and over and over again, all for a great price, that's easy. Because we can help clients stay on budget while delivering on quality they want. Why else would we have over 400 floors? These are the floors homes are built on. Lumber Liquidators is now LL Flooring.
Thank you for visiting ChristopherMedia.net.
Welcome to Sporgy.
The show that gives you half-ass sports fans giving their half-ass opinions.
And now, here are your hosts.
Us Fantasy Hack, Week 3. We're almost a quarter of the way done already. I'm Chris. With me is JR.
Hey, everybody.
And the theme for this week would be the horror. Oh, good God, man. The injuries this week. But, JR, we talked about it, I think, in our draft episode, right? We saw this coming, right, with no preseason?
Yeah, there just hasn't been a lot of contact. And, live hitting, there's no replacement for live hitting. I mean, you can run routes and have the red jerseys on and no tackling, but, there's nothing like getting hit. And you kind of got to get seasoned. It's kind of like a steak, you don't just throw it on. You tender it up before you throw it on the grill. Well, you got to get hit for a few weeks before you're in game shape. And these guys are dropping like flies. It's a shame. And
the biggest, I think the biggest of the injuries, as far as the permanent ones, Saquon. Again.
And that wasn't really a bad hit or anything. It's just one of those freak things. We've seen it happen with non-contact, even where you blow a knee out like that, and really, really bummed for him. I'm a Penn State alumnus, so I'm a big fan of his, even though the Giants are rivals of the Eagles. But you hate to see that for anybody, and especially Saquon's a class act, a great guy, works hard, and you just hate to see it happen to him. But it's part of the rigors of the NFL.
Yeah, well,
it can happen to any player at any time.
I think I'm officially off to borrow a phrase from Adam Rank here. I think I'm officially off the hype train for Saquon. It's durability, man. Like it's the second year in a row.
Well, I mean, it was just a high ankle sprain last year. That's not nearly as bad. He missed 3 or 4 weeks. This is, I don't know if you can label a player, injury prone. And same as Carson Wentz. I mean, it could happen to anybody in the league. So, I wish him well. I hope he comes back 110% next year. Fortunately, technology is pretty good with the medical people, but it's tough. And yeah, you can't hide behind it. I mean, some guys, play a lot of years and don't get hurt very much, but most NFL running backs, they miss time here and there. It's just going to happen no matter who you are. And Christian McCaffrey, perfect example, perfectly healthy all year last year, and
yeah, and then
he's out for 3 to 6 weeks with isn't that a high ankle or?
Yeah, but apparently it's a hell of a high ankle sprain. So yeah, 4 to 6 for him.
Everybody's vulnerable, but particularly this year where they just didn't have a preseason and they weren't able to slowly get into condition. It was kind of rushed and no preseason, and they got right at it. And, normally these guys would be playing a quarter and a half, and they'd be sitting the rest of the game, and then they'd gradually get more playing time, and then you start the season.
Mm-hmm.
But when you just go all, from nothing to all balls out, and it's regular season and it's on, and we're seeing the negative repercussions of that. So just talking to a buddy today, this could be the best New Year's of all, 2021. They need to redo that Prince song that says "Party Like It's 1999" because a lot of people are going to be happy to see this year go away, and NFL players probably will be among them.
Yeah,
It talked about who's hurt. Let's talk about how to pick up the pieces and who might be available to replace these guys. I mean, I've been doing my waiver picks, right before we came to record the show, and there's a lot of names out there, but there's a lot of names that don't excite me. Only a few excite me. Maybe you feel differently, but just from a running standpoint, the only guy that really excites me is Mike Davis, and he'll be taking the Carolina Panthers job in the absence of CMC. So,
yeah,
but if you have CMC, if you're lucky enough to have him as a handcuff, good for you. But probably not a lot of people are. He seems to be available in every league, but if you don't have the number 1 or 2 draft waiver pick, you're probably out of luck on him. So what are some other names that you like? Because that's about it for me. I know that I could bring out the other 5 guys, but I mean, Devontae Freeman signed with the Giants today, but he hasn't played in a while. Who knows what kind of shape he's in? Wayne Gallman does nothing for me. Dion Lewis, I don't know. Maybe in a PPR. I'm not sure I want a Giants running back right now.
No.
If you're desperate and you have a void and you got to pick somebody up, I guess you maybe take a flyer on Freeman.
And Mike Davis is the volume play simply because he's going to be getting the ball. But guys that excite me, like guys I have claims for, there's James Robinson.
Yep.
You're not too excited about this guy, but Jerick McKinnon, that's going to be a pure volume play because he's going to be like
Robinson's already on my roster in like 3-4 leagues. I don't think he's available too many places, but I picked up on him the last couple of weeks.
Joshua Kelly.
Yep, I picked him up in like 4 leagues last week. So that's one of the things you can do is you look for talent and pick them up, even if they're not scoring points now. It can reap the benefits, and then there's going to be more carnage. So scour the wire, and even if it's a guy that's waiting in the wings, look for those guys that are next man up and stack them on your roster because some of them are going to pan out.
Yeah,
Would you rather have an Adrian Peterson or somebody like a Joshua Kelly on your roster?
Yeah, as far as running backs, it's really those are really the 3 guys I got tons of claims in for. Everything else is receivers, and Devontae Freeman hasn't been Devontae Freeman for a number of years, so I'm really not.
No, and if Saquon wasn't even doing that well behind that Giants line, so what makes you think any of these 3 are?
Yeah,
I'm not sold. You got a lot of people. I think there's some 49ers running backs injured. Tevin Coleman, I think, is hurt. Yeah. So a lot of people are saying pick up Jerick McKinnon. He's available. Does that excite you? It doesn't excite me.
Just from a volume, because Mostert's hurt and Coleman are hurt. So just from a volume play, McKinnon's worth picking up. But I'm sure there'll be better options next week. But he's better than there's a team where I have Saquon, and then on my bench was Duke Johnson. It's
rough. It's rough out there.
Yeah.
Darrell Henderson might be available. Might want to take a flyer on him. Rams running back of the week. Last week it was Malcolm Brown. This week it was Henderson.
Well, because the Akers is injured, and what was it? Malcolm Brown was injured for a minute.
At the end of the day, that's a 300-headed monster, and right now it's just Henderson's the only healthy body.
Yeah, I'm dropping him in favor of David Montgomery was on that waiver wire, so I'll take.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah,
but not really because he hasn't put any numbers up in years. Not just this year, but last year he was a disappointment.
Yeah, I mean he had a great game last week, but we'll see. But I just took it over the guy who's going to be number 1 versus a guy who might be number 1. So.
Well, that's running backs. Let's go to quarterbacks. How about that Justin Herbert, man?
Yeah, you know what I liked about that kid? He's got balls. Fourth quarter, tied with the Super Bowl champions, he marched his team down the field.
Ice in the veins.
Yeah, now they only got a field goal. But still, he didn't look like he was scared. He didn't look like he was nervous.
No, I saw him play, and I was very, very impressed at what I saw. Amazingly, I'm reading that when Tyrod Taylor is healthy, he's going to play. I'm not buying that. Even if he might start a game, but 3 games from now, I got to think Herbert will be, the established starter, and I think he's got a big upside. So, if you got room for a backup quarterback, I know I have David. What's David Jones? Daniel Jones?
No, Daniel Jones.
Giants. Why do I always call Davy Jones? Davy Jones' locker. Daniel Jones as my backup in like several leagues, and I've been dropping him. It's time to move on. I've been picking up the likes of Gardner Minshew.
Yep, just going to mention a lot of claims in for him this week.
Herbert. I've already got Minshew as a backup in a couple. I already replaced Daniel Jones. I seem to be a week ahead of everybody with some of these players, which is good. I guess maybe I'm just paying attention or have hunches, but I encourage everybody to do that. Just take a look at the depth charts, especially at running back position, where you're seeing a lot of people go down, and look at that backup. There's talent out there, and you just got to kind of be lucky that the guy on your bench is the guy that moves up into the starting role. But it's not rocket science. You gotta be prepared, and you gotta. There's no point in having an Adrian Peterson on your roster when you could have a guy that's maybe not playing, but he's one hit away from being a volume guy. Peterson's not going to be a volume guy all season.
A running back I didn't mention. I know we're on wide receivers. Myles Gaskin. He seems to.
Yeah, I saw him. I'm maybe a little bit intrigued there. I didn't see him play this week, but there's a lot of chatter saying he looked pretty good.
Yeah,
so it could do worse. I'd rather have him than any of those Giants guys.
And with QBs, I think the hot waiver wire pickup this week is Mr. Minshew.
Minshew with the porn stash, and then you got again. I'm high on Herbert.
I'm just not sure if he's gonna be the guy. That's the one thing that's keeping me from.
I don't think that they can stick with Tyrod forever. I mean, after seeing what we saw, the fans are going to be like, the coaches saw what we saw too. I mean, the writing's on the wall. Tyrod Taylor has been in the league a long time, but I think sooner than later Herbert will be the man. It's a gamble. There's no guarantees. See what happens.
Yeah, the last time Tyrod had a steady job was pre Josh Allen Buffalo. Everywhere else he's gone, he's been just a placeholder.
Yeah, and that's going to be the case here real soon, I think.
Mm-hmm. But hey, at least he's drawing an NFL salary. He's being a placeholder. Could be worse.
Let's go back to wide receiver. One guy that I think is flying a little under the radar is N'Keal Harry. He was drafted in a lot of leagues, then dropped, but I don't know. I like this guy for long-term potential. He's going to be a guy to put on your bench. He's not going to be starting for you, but stick him on your bench and see if maybe he improves as the season goes on.
I mean, I think the only Patriot I want right now is either Edelman or Cam Newton.
Well, I agree, but you know what? I'm giving Harry a little bit of. I'm going to pick him up in a couple leagues and just stash him because I saw some potential. I watched some of that Seahawks game and I like what I saw.
See, I'm dropping him.
A lot of people are saying to pick up Steven Sims Jr. Not me. No, I don't want anybody from the Washington football team.
No.
Alshon Jeffrey is still injured and probably won't be a factor for as long as his Philadelphia Eagles career is about to end after this season when his contract's up finally. Thank God as an Eagles fan, which is not a fun place to be right now. But Traquan Smith maybe with Michael Thomas being out. If you're desperate, you could do worse.
I say that's limited. That's got a limited upside. A guy
that's like rolling the dice.
Yeah,
it's going to be. The roulette wheel could land on green, red, or black, and he's probably the green.
A guy got a lot of claims in for Keelan Cole.
Okay, yeah,
that's going to be it seems to be that's not Minshew's go-to guy, but it seems when Chark's double teamed, Keelan's getting the ball.
Yeah, speaking of Chark, I think is he hurt this week? It's all questionable. What's wrong with him?
Let me check.
Yeah,
everyone's injured this week, so maybe.
George Kittle might come back this week, but I heard rumors that the 49ers may rest all their injured players for one more week because they're playing on, I think, bad turf this week or artificial turf. Who are they playing? Oh, they're back in that same stadium, the MetLife, and Giants, because they played the Jets last week, and they get the Giants there. 2 weeks in a row they got to play in that stadium, and I heard that a lot of people complained about the condition of the turf in New York in that MetLife Stadium. So
yeah,
I read an article where the 49ers are thinking about holding Kittle out another week because they don't want him to play on that turf.
Yeah,
so,
we're going to wait. Yeah, I probably read the same article.
Make you say, that's where Saquon got hurt too. Maybe that was a factor. You never know. Good news on the wide receiver front, at least for some like me who have a lot of Chris Godwin. He's cleared concussion protocol. He missed last week, but he's 100% and ready to go this week. Start him, and he will be a welcome addition back into lineups. So at least we have some good news.
Russell Gage, a guy I got a lot of claims in for.
Yep, I got a lot of claims. And who would think a third wide receiver would be in demand? But that Falcons offense is just like the old Air Coryell. It's just, 60 passes first week, was it?
Mm-hmm.
Boy, speaking of, got to be, I'm kind of feeling sorry as an Eagles fan, but Falcons fans just got to be beside themselves the way they blew that game against the Cowboys. And half the team sat around watching that ball spin when they could have just fallen on it and the game would have been over.
Yeah, it's Dan Quinn and Matt Patricia are probably going to be looking for work soon.
That was embarrassing. It really was.
A guy that we all kind of talked a bunch of shit on last couple weeks in the last year, but seems to be a viable waiver wire pickup this week, Corey Davis.
Yep. I actually picked him up in one league. I'm looking at it right now. He's on my bench, but he's on my roster. He's playing the 31st against the pass-ranked Minnesota defense. Who would have thought that, too?
Yeah, and as long as A.J. Brown is out, he's the guy.
Yep. Like you said, volume play. Good call on that.
If you see MVS, grab him up. Devontae Adams is hurt.
I've been grabbing him, MVS, and a lot of people are picking up Alan Lazard, but I think MVS, everything I'm reading and what I've seen, indicates that MVS is the better pick, higher ceiling for him.
Yes, totally agree.
And let's move to tight end, man. How about that Darren Waller last night? What did he have, like 12? I know he had at least 12 catches.
Oh, he gave me like 30 fantasy points. This team, in the league I took a beating with last week, this week I was the guy who put up 180. Thank you, Darren Waller.
Yeah, I went 8-3 in 11 leagues, and Waller won me one of those.
Mm-hmm.
Always loved that Monday night comeback.
Mm-hmm. Jonnu Smith on a lot of waiver wires. Pick him up.
Yeah, what about Mike Gesicki?
Him too. A lot of claims in for him.
Penn State guy. He's 130 yards and I think 2 touchdowns against for the Miami Dolphins.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if anybody saw the one-handed catch he made. It was probably the play of the week. If you didn't see it, go look it up. Amazing one-handed catch. I saw that on the Sports Center. So I'd love to see what else has happened in the tight ends. Kittle was out. He may not play because it's that bad turf. But Jordan Reed, the old dinosaur that everybody gave up on, actually pretty respectable. He got 2 touchdowns and I think 60-some yards.
The ghost of Jordan Reed. And he'll simply be like, is he a guy you're going to keep the whole season? No. As soon as Kittle comes back, that's it for him.
I've got Kittle, so Kittle's so valuable that I might even keep him as a handcuff. But actually, I'm looking at the roster on this league where I have Jordan Reed and Kittle, and I picked up Kittle. I put Kittle on IR and picked up Reed, but my other tight end is Mark Andrews, so I might be okay.
Yeah, I think you'll do fine.
Probably can drop Reed in that situation, but I got no receiver. No, I do. I've got a pretty good roster here, so I don't need to trade anybody. But if you got Kittle and you don't have a good backup tight end, maybe pick him up as a handcuff. only so many roster spots. It's tough to handcuff a tight end, but maybe it's a solution. We're not going to waste time on kickers other than to say, but how cool was that to see Harrison butt kicker kick 3 53-yarders in a row?
There's a guy talk about ice in his veins.
Yep, and they were all just, picture perfect,
Mm-hmm.
So if you got him, you're probably pretty happy. But if you drafted him in like the 7th round, like some idiots do, probably wasn't the best way to do it. But
I think this is a way to waste a single-digit round pick.
No, I always wait. Kickers and defenses come in the last 2 rounds for me.
Yep, same here.
And I don't have Harrison Butker in very many leagues, but I get by with whoever I have. But I got a deeper roster above that, and that's where the bread and the butter. That's where the game's won in the trenches, not with kickers and defenses in most cases.
Absolutely.
Speaking of defenses, man, I've dropped the Broncos in a couple leagues. They've been a disappointment.
Yeah, I had to let the Vikings go. See ya. Thanks for the negative point average in 2 weeks.
But I picked up the Rams in a couple leagues last week, and
Colts seem to be the defense waiver wire pickup of the week.
And don't sleep on the Arizona Cardinals either. I picked them up in a couple. Of course, they're playing the Lions this week. That's another reason. So streaming defenses pick up the Cards this week. Yeah, I'll even get to watch the Lions because they're on local TV for here.
So they're going out west, right?
They're playing in the desert out here, and my Eagles play at 1. I'll watch them, and then I can watch the Cardinals-Lions game. Cardinals looking pretty good.
Yeah, I dare to say you got yourself a football team there in the desert.
D-Hop hasn't missed a beat, and he's working out really well for them.
So
they got good skill position players.
Kyler Murray seems to be a good draft pick for you guys.
Yeah, real deal. Well, not you guys. I'm not a you guys. Okay. They're a local team, but I'm an Eagles fan.
Gotcha.
Thick and thin. So, yeah. A lot of people are, not too happy in Philly. But you know what? I got that one Super Bowl before I die, and it's all gravy from here. So I'm a little bit more patient than most with Doug Peterson. He brought us a trophy. He gets a pass for a little while, even though Carson Wentz has just looked abysmal. I'm even thinking of waiving him. He's been that horrible. I'll give him a couple more weeks, and that's probably. But he's certainly not starting for any of my teams. He's a capable backup at best right now. He's a mess.
Yeah, it's your offense, except for Miles Sanders, is a mess. You still got Zach Ertz, but he can't throw the ball to himself.
But you got a whole bunch of talent at wide receiver. That's like. I can't remember since Terrell Owens having like a quality receiver. The Eagles never have a good receiver. I don't know why they don't invest in that. Receivers and linebackers are always the weakness of the Eagles.
Mm-hmm.
But a lot of people hate the Eagles, so they're happy that they're losing. So rejoice, Eagle haters.
Sporgy.
ChristopherMedia.net.
And now a game of Commercial Chicken, brought to you by Progressive, where we see how long Flo can go without talking about insurance. Ready? Go.
So, have you noticed how everyone's grammar is completely awful now? Like, the texting and the LOLs. Whatever happened to punctuation? I mean, drivers who switch to Progressive could save big.
Okay, you win. We can't help but save customers money. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates.
There's a new Home Depot now open on Maurice Avenue in Masspeth. And as home improvement projects go, this is a big one. Use the product locator on our app for an in-store map to find what you need fast. And check out our new pickup lockers. They make online shopping a breeze. Of course, one thing's not new, our everyday low prices. The Home Depot, now open near Maurice Avenue and Long Island Expressway in Masspeth. And always open at HomeDepot.com. The Home Depot, how doers get more done.
And now a game of Commercial Chicken, brought to you by Progressive, where we see how long Flo can go without talking about insurance. Ready? Go.
Okay, so, did you see that game the other day? The refs, right? I mean, come on. They were totally out to get us. That always happens to our team. Drivers who switch to Progressive could save big.
Okay, you win. We can't help but save customers money. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates.
ChristopherMedia.net.
Sporgy.
I don't know what was worse for me, seeing the Eagles get shredded by the Rams or watching Dallas make that amazing comeback. Because, at least if Dallas was 0-2 with us, it wouldn't be so bad. We could be miserable together. But to see them win like that, that's something that can change your whole season. They're all fired up now from that comeback. And, not only did the Falcons sit and watch that onside kick, they also went for 2 earlier in the game and missed it. Otherwise, it would have been 40-40, and we'd have gone to overtime.
Yeah.
So, Dan Quinn days are numbered.
I'll tell you, a guy that I'm keeping an eye on because I got a lot of him is Deshaun Watson. Like, it's getting late in Houston early, as far as I'm concerned.
I think that the clock is ticking on Mr. O'Brien down there.
Yeah, and Watson ain't going anywhere. They just backed up the armored truck for him, and right before the season started. So he's going to be the guy down there. But it's.
Well, I think the Houston fans are going to have the pitchforks out real soon. I know that they were very unhappy with them dealing D-Hop away for basically David Johnson in a draft pick. I don't know. I'm seeing probably a coaching change there too. It doesn't look like that's going to work out too well.
I thought about dropping him in a couple leagues, but you got to go with your gut, right? And my gut says this guy just got a lot of money. We've seen him be great pretty much every NFL season he's played. He doesn't have a receiving core. When Will Fuller is your number one guy, you got. If I'm the Texans GM, I'm calling Antonio Brown, going, "Hey, we still want to play football? Come down here." Because they need somebody to throw the ball to in Houston. Because handing off to David Johnson all year ain't getting you to the playoffs.
Yep. All right. Should we go through the games now?
Let's do it.
It's week 3 coming up. Looking forward to my Eagles. I won't talk anymore about the Eagles, but I'm really looking forward to next Monday night. We actually have a real good game on either a Thursday or Monday, which those games are usually duds. And we'll, I guess, get to that one last. But Chiefs and the Ravens, isn't it?
This Thursday? I think it's Jacksonville and somebody.
No, Monday. Monday night.
Oh, Monday.
Yep. Yeah. Let's see here. Let me just confirm that. I'm almost positive it is, though. Because I remember seeing the promo last night. Kansas City at Baltimore. So next Monday night, I know where I'll be. Nothing's going to be away from the TV for that one.
That's gonna be a good game.
The price we pay is the Florida battle on Thursday night, which is less than a stellar matchup between the Dolphins and the Jacksonville Jaguars. So that one I might find something else to do, but I'll probably still watch it because it's football.
Mm-hmm.
So Miami and Jacksonville, does anybody have anybody worth starting at Miami? I know I mentioned Mike Gesicki, somebody to watch. He came out of his shell for 130 yards, 2 touchdowns. Maybe he's finally being used down there as a receiver and not a blocker because he's essentially a big, tall, wide receiver. But is there anybody else worth it? What was the running back you told me about that everybody's picking up this week?
Oh, Myles Gaskin.
Myles Gaskin.
As for a starter, no.
No, but he's somebody to watch, and maybe this Thursday is your chance to watch him and see if he's worthy of a spot.
As far as on these two teams, I think the only person starting
Chark.
Yeah, that's about it. Maybe Devontae Parker's a flex, but you gotta be. Like, I don't know. It seems Devontae Parker is always someone that ends up coming on later in the season, and he becomes a must start later on in the year.
I wouldn't give up on him yet, but he wouldn't be starting either.
Yeah.
If you got room for him on your bench, I wouldn't drop him yet. I've seen some leagues he's been dropped. I'll pick him up.
Mm-hmm.
I won't start him until I see that. But you're right. It does seem like about halfway through the season, he all of a sudden hits his stride. But Fitzmagic's still quarterback there until Tua gets in.
Yeah.
As long as Fitzmagic in, they connected last year a lot. I think that's still – maybe this is the week. Maybe it is. So keep something to keep an eye on. Give you some interest in this game because there's not much from a football standpoint. But and also keep an eye on Minshew Magic. He's been pretty impressive.
Yeah,
To think I thought that would be the Nick Foles team, and that never worked out. And Minshew Magic is working out pretty good. Well, let's go to Sunday. The Bears at the Falcons.
Ooh.
I don't know what Atlanta's either just going to crumble after that loss or they're going to be pissed off, and I think they're a much better team than Chicago. But who knows? I like the Falcons in this one. I think they're going to bounce back from that debacle. I think that was a wake-up call, and man, say what you will, I mean, their offense is performing at a high level, and Calvin Ridley is on fire.
Yeah, you're starting Ridley, you're starting Matt Ryan, you're starting Hayden Hurst. You're starting Julio. Bears, David Montgomery showed signs of life last week, but...
Allen Robinson, maybe?
Yeah. Still not confident in starting any Bears. I'm of the opinion that you have better options.
Well, Atlanta did give up 40 points to the Cowboys, so...
Yeah.
Secondary can be thrown on, and we did see flashes of brilliance for one quarter from the Bears.
Yeah.
But that was against the Lions, so it probably doesn't count.
No, it does not. Let's see, the Rams and the Bills, and you're starting Josh Allen.
Josh Allen's looking really good, man. I really feel bad I don't have him in a single league.
Thanks for the 42 fantasy points last week, Josh Allen. Thank you.
The thing that's impressive is last year it was all about running touchdowns. Now he's doing it all over he's throwing the ball. He's had a 300-yard game. He's still running and getting yards, but
he's got someone to throw it to.
He's not a one-trick pony anymore. Yeah, Diggs has gone off. What an acquisition that was.
Yeah, that's the difference between last year and this year is he's actually got a viable receiver.
Buffalo really could surprise this year, I think. I think a lot of people are just overlooking them.
Mm-hmm. I mean,
they got a good defense, and their offense is much better, much improved. I don't know if they can beat the Rams or not. The Rams look pretty good against the Eagles, but everybody seems to look good against the Eagles, so it'll be a good game. That's a good matchup. That's one I'll be watching. Well, I won't be watching because it's the same time as my Eagles game. But I've got the NFL Game Pass, which I can watch abbreviated version of games after the fact. That might be one I check out. Washington football team at the Cleveland Brownies. Boy, I don't think that's a very interesting game, but the Brownies actually looked halfway decent last week against the Bungles.
They're running backs.
Actually showed a pulse, but I heard something on the radio that unanimously a couple of guys on the talk radio in Sirius were saying that, OBJ had an okay game, but Jarvis Landry is clearly a better receiver, and I agree. I don't know what happened to OBJ. I don't know. He seems to have lost the fire. Maybe something's not working there in Cleveland, and they may have to unload him because Landry is the much better receiver.
But I'm starting to think in Cleveland it might be the guy throwing to OBJ.
Could be too, but
he was great in college, and he has been very underwhelming in the NHL or the NFL.
Yeah, but you know what? This is a good week for him to shine because Washington football team, they have that big front four though, so watch out for that.
I mean, though, if you got Chubb, if you got Hunt, you're starting them.
Yeah, and do you think those guys last the whole year on that team, or you think they'll trade one of them?
No, I think I said it in their draft episode, and I'll say it again here, and I probably said it every week. Kareem Hunt's going to finish the season on another team.
You have to think so, unless one of them gets, unless Chubb gets hurt, and then Hunt's there to take up the slack. It's a nice 1-2 punch to have, but it's a luxury.
Yeah, Cleveland has 2 starting running backs.
They sure do. I still like Chubb better.
Yeah, but I mean Hunt. I mean, especially with all these running back injuries now. I mean Hunt's definitely gonna end up on another team.
Are you starting anyone on Washington? Maybe McLaurin.
That's it. Terry McLaurin. And that's flex.
Antonio Gibson, probably not, unless you have a no better choice. And if you have no better choice, you're in trouble.
Yeah.
Especially when there's not even bye weeks in play yet. So Cleveland, we already said Chubb, Hunt, Jarvis Landry, OBJ.
Yeah.
That's about it.
Yeah, Austin Hooper's been very underwhelming at tight end, but it's week 2.
I'm starting to see him dropped. He's been waived.
Mm-hmm.
I'm waived in multiple leagues today. I think people have given up on him. Maybe it's a little too soon to give up on him, but you can either sit and watch everything happen or you can react to it. And that's what people are doing.
Yeah. Let's see. Titans, Vikings.
Dalvin Cook.
Yeah, Dalvin Cook and Adam Thielen. And Thielen didn't have that great of a week. But
you know what? I'm going to blame this on what I think was one of the worst free agent signings ever. Was Kirk Cousins. I've never been sold on him. I'm still not, and I'm pretty sure there's a lot of Vikings fans that agree with me.
See, I was, because he made the Washington football team a playoff team. He made them competitive, but then
season.
Yeah, well, they put him in Minnesota. I thought when he went to Minnesota, that was it. He was starting to lighten it up. He had Diggs and Thielen, one of the best receiving cores in the league, and he has been very underwhelming.
He's one of those guys that as soon as he got paid, things went south.
Mm-hmm.
Makes you go, maybe he's just doesn't have the fire anymore.
Yeah.
Tennessee.
Tannehill's on a lot of waiver wires. If you need a QB, snap him up.
He's a pretty good backup. It's your second quarterback. Derrick Henry is an obvious choice.
Mm-hmm. But as far as starting, I think that's it for Tennessee.
Brown's hurt, so as we mentioned earlier, the much maligned Corey Davis is back in play. Mm-hmm. We'll see how long he stays healthy, but volume, right?
Yeah, but I don't think are you starting Corey Davis?
No, but hopefully not. I have a couple of
right.
Jonnu Smith.
Yeah.
We'll see if he can keep up. I know he had, big week last week, but is it going to be in every week? Maybe.
Yeah, I mean, he was a pickup. He was a sexy waiver wire pickup towards the end of last season. So maybe he can keep that momentum going. I mean, I got a bunch of claims in for him. So it's Raiders, Patriots.
How about those Raiders, man? I always tell everybody, don't ever bet against the Raiders on Monday night. Who would have thought they'd beat the Saints?
Right? Especially with the cast of no-names they have at wide receiver.
Henry Ruggs III.
Yeah. 2 touchdowns were made yesterday by guys I never heard of?
Yeah, well, Darren Waller's the real deal. You're starting him. You know that. He's now moving up into the Kittle stratosphere, I think.
Yeah, he is. Podcast I listened to today was talking about he's definitely almost in that top tier in the conversations with Kelsey, Kittle.
Yeah, I think he's probably moved past Zach Ertz in the pecking order.
Mm-hmm. And then Josh Jacobs, another Raider you're starting.
Josh Jacobs is, ascending to, with some of the big names being out. He might be one of the top 3 running backs in the league right now.
Yeah, it seems the sophomore jinx isn't going to hit him. Seems he just picked up right where he left off last season.
And then you got those New England Patriots, man. It's just Belichick is a tough guy for fantasy players. You just don't know what he's going to do and who's going to play. I don't know. I think we had this conversation earlier. Maybe Edelman.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe Newton as a backup quarterback. I wouldn't be starting Newton.
Say if Cam's still on your waiver wire, grab him for a backup. He's putting up respectable fantasy numbers. Well, because he's being Cam Newton. He's doing half the work himself.
Now that's going to be a good ball game there, man. We'll see how the Raiders respond having to go on the road in New England. But you gotta admit, Chucky's doing a good job there. Gruden, he's making it happen. I saw a statistic on Monday Night Football last night that they invested over $50 million on the offensive line. I know they had a lot of guys go down, but Chucky's getting it done. Gotta respect it.
Well, here's a game where I think you're starting nobody: the Niners versus the Giants.
Yeah, you got San Francisco down to their Jerick McKinnon at running back. You got that horrible turf that everybody complains about. That, Barkley's gone, so it's going to be some combination of Wayne Gallman, Deion Lewis, and who knows whether Devontae Freeman's even going to be active? Is he in game shape? He worked out for the Giants today. He must be. They signed him, but I want nothing to do with anybody on either of these teams except maybe the 49ers defense, and that's a big maybe.
Minus Nick Bosa? I don't know.
Well, but it's against the Giants with no safety, so.
But who's the quarterback? Jimmy G's hurt. Who's going to be throwing the ball?
Well, you know what? I think maybe we're just going to default to what you said at the beginning.
Yeah.
Avoid this game like the plague. Maybe Evan Ingram, maybe.
Yeah, I mean, Evan Ingram, that's the only thing, the silver lining for the Giants. If you own Evan Ingram, his stock is just between no receivers and no running back. I mean, Evan Ingram's going to be the offense, I think, in New York.
If he can stay healthy.
Yes. Bengals, another one. Bengals, Eagles. I mean, maybe
Joe Mixon and Miles Sanders.
Yeah. End of list.
I've got Tyler Boyd in a couple leagues, and he's been a bust so far. And Burrow threw for over 300 yards. I think Boyd might have got a touchdown last week, but I was looking for him to really break out, and I've been reading pretty disappointing reviews on Mr. A.J. Green. I think his best days are in the past, but you never know.
Yeah. And Burrow, maybe in another week or so, we'll be talking about him in the waiver wire column. But, yeah, as far as anybody you're starting in this game, it's the starting running backs, and then you're moving on.
Well, Zach
Ertz, yeah.
Maybe to a lesser extent, Dallas Goedert if you're desperate. But if he's in your starting lineup, that's probably not a good thing. So, yeah, we'll go with Miles Sanders, Zach Ertz, and Joe Mixon. And that's about it.
Texans Steelers. I mean, as far as
what are you going to do? You were just talking about how Watson's disappointed, and now he's playing arguably the best defense in the league, the Steelers. You're starting the Steelers defense always.
Yeah. I mean, you start David Johnson. He's been.
Yeah, you got to start him. He's a volume guy.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't expect too much against that Steeler D, but. Ben Roethlisberger's starting to look a little better.
Yeah.
James Conner's back.
Juju, but I mean that's it.
That's about it. Probably going to be a good, competitive, low-scoring game to watch. But for fantasy, you can't really expect much from Houston.
No, not at all.
And I don't know. Can you really expect that much from Pittsburgh? I expect a low-scoring game and probably a disappointment for most fantasy players. You might get a game out of Connor. That's probably the best chance of anybody, putting up big numbers.
I know he'll be running into J.J. Watt a lot. So
yeah, it's going to be. I bet the under.
Yeah, Jets and Colts. Start the Colts defense.
Yeah, start the Colts defense. Jonathan Taylor looked really good now that Marlon Mack is out of the way. God bless him.
His stock has risen.
Anybody, but he looks like the real deal.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what's up with T.Y. Hilton, but
old. I think age is getting to him. But we're starting zero Jets. There is no Jet you want to start.
Oh, what about the ageless Frank Gore?
No.
He'll get you 20 carries for 54 yards and no touchdowns.
Yeah.
That's about what you can expect from Frank Gore.
And yeah, I think there's really no other really viable Paris Campbell's hurt. I mean,
you're probably not going to be watching this game for fantasy. Probably not a very exciting fantasy matchup. We had a few of those duds. And even the Pittsburgh-Houston game is probably not going to be a big fantasy scoring.
Yeah.
Sporgy.
ChristopherMedia.net.
Progressive presents The Sounds of the Old World.
The year is 2019, and someone is waiting for a table at a restaurant.
Thompson, party of 4. Thompson, party of 4. Thompson, party... Oh, there you are.
This has been The Sounds of the Old World.
Brought to you by Progressive, where drivers can still switch and save like it's 2019.
Quote today at Progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates.
You heard you could save big when you bundle home and auto with Progressive, so you went online to check it out. But then you saw a link for a survey about which type of bread you are. And now you're on question 17, barely scratching the surface of your bread identity. You always thought of yourself as a brioche, but are you actually more of a pumpernickel? Ah, yes. They said it was easy to save money bundling with Progressive, but they forgot about the rest of the internet. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company, affiliates, and other insurers. Bundle discount not available in all states or situations.
ChristopherMedia.net.
Sporgy.
Panthers, Chargers.
Jeez, I guess Mike Davis you got to start.
Yeah, maybe David or maybe DJ Moore.
Who's the tight end there? Anybody of note? Greg Olson left for the Seahawks. I don't even know who their tight end is. Well, that tells you all you need to know if we don't know who he is.
Yeah, and then Chargers.
Oh, wait, Chargers, though. We know that tight end, Hunter Henry. He's starting him.
Keenan Allen, he's still the top guy.
Yeah, he's the top guy, but he's just not really putting up too big of numbers this year so far. Well, that would be interesting to see who's starting. Is it going to be Taylor or Herbert?
And then and then the backfield though, you got Josh Kelly and then Austin Eckler. I mean, am I telling you to start either of those guys? No.
I think they're flex options at best.
Yeah.
Eckler probably has the bigger name, but I'm starting to put Kelly, take a flyer on him where I have, low depth. A couple of the teams I had Saquon on. I had him Kelly waiting in the wings, and now I'm thin at running back.
Mm-hmm.
It's a flyer though. It's a flyer.
Yeah. Buccaneers and Broncos.
Tom Brady came back. Had a halfway decent game. Mike Evans had a monster game.
Yeah.
Chris Godwin will be back for Tampa.
Yep. You're starting Evans. You're starting Godwin.
Denver, I've dropped their defense in a couple leagues, so I know that they're vulnerable. So I'm not convinced that Rojo is a starter. Fournette got his 100 last week. Watch that. I think he's predictably taking that job.
Mm-hmm.
We'll see what happens with Bruce Arians, whether he sticks with a committee or goes with a hot hand. But Fournette looked much better than Rojo last week.
And I don't think I'm starting Gronk or O.J. Howard.
I cut Gronk in 2 leagues. I cut Gronk in 1 league, and the reason I had Gronk is because it was a league that nobody wanted to play. So what we decided to do is scale the money way back and do an auto draft for every team, random.
Mm-hmm.
And he ended up on my roster with 4 other tight ends. But yeah, I think it's time to cut Gronk right now. I mean, that could come back to bite you. Maybe 5th, 7th week. He comes around. Maybe he's just not in game shape yet. But I'm not starting O.J. Howard either because he's once every 5 weeks he has a big day and then he disappears again.
And then as far as Broncos, probably Melvin Gordon since Drew Lock's hurt. Just going to be hand the ball off.
About it, really. I mean, I have Jerry Jeudy in a bunch of leagues. He's not doing anything, and I don't think it's going to get any better with.
Well, didn't he get hurt?
Lockout. Oh, I don't think so. I heard no. Well, we know Sutton's out, and I know one of the kind of Hail Mary waiver or free agent or waiver pickups is KJ Hamler, the rookie out of Penn State. He was mentioned in a couple articles as somebody to keep an eye on since Sutton's out for the season. So I think he was a 2nd-round draft pick. He's a speedster. Watched him play in college a lot. So keep an eye on Hamler. Is certainly not starting him, but keep an eye on him and maybe pick him up if you see something you like. Noah Fant might be a good play, but who knows?
Yeah.
I think you're right. I think Melvin Gordon is the only Bronco I want anything to do with.
How about Lions Cardinals?
Oh boy. Well, Stafford will be throwing a lot. They'll probably be behind. Start your Cardinals.
Yeah.
Starting Kyler Murray.
Yeah. Start D-Hop.
Of course. That's a no-brainer. Kenyon Drake.
Yeah. And as far as Cardinals, though, I think that's it. I think that's the list.
You starting anybody for the Lions other than maybe Stafford, and that's a maybe even?
I mean, Galladay is supposed to be back. That's a volume play. He'll be the number one guy.
Just because you drafted him high, and you have to give him a shot, and they got to throw to somebody. They're going to be throwing a lot.
Yeah. But yeah,
how's Hawkinson looking this year?
Like he did last year. He has a good game. Then he's quiet. Like it's not really sold on that guy as far as at least a fantasy starter. And then, man, this could be Cowboys and Seahawks.
Yeah, I'm looking at the schedule, and the 3 games we have yet to review are all great football games.
Yeah.
So you're looking at Dallas and Seattle at the late slot on Sunday, then
Packers Saints for the night game,
and then the grand finale, Kansas City at Baltimore. Can't wait for that one.
Yeah,
man. Sunday is going to be a fun day of football to watch. So Dallas at Seattle, Russell Wilson. How does he keep getting better with age? This guy's like a fine wine.
Yeah, I mean he's been in the league 8 years, and
you know what? Every year I think, well, this is probably the year he's going to go backwards, and you know what? He just looks better every year.
I mean,
I don't know if there's anybody I'd rather have as a fantasy quarterback. I think I only have him in 1 or 2 leagues, but you know what? And all those people that took Mahomes in like the 2nd or 3rd round and Lamar Jackson, you could have got this guy in like the 7th round.
All he does is produce.
Yep, he's got a lot of respect for me. As much as I hate to say it, Dak is putting up some numbers. Yeah, with his legs and his arm.
450 and 4 touchdowns last week.
Yep. I don't want no part of him because I can't stand the Cowboys, but man, he sure is helping some fantasy teams.
Yeah, your Dak, Zeke, Amari Cooper, those are you're starting those Cowboys.
CeeDee Lamb's starting to make a little bit of a buzz too.
Yeah.
So keep your eye on him. And I'm not sold on Sergeant Schultz yet. The tight end. Jarwin's out for the season, so I think it's Blake Schultz now. But something to keep an eye on. I mean, Cowboys throw the ball around a lot, and they always involve the tight end. Could be a sleeper there.
Yeah, and Seahawks.
Seattle got the dinosaur Greg Olson, but you're probably not going to start him. I wouldn't.
No.
But, DK Metcalf, man, every time I see him, I'm thinking, we could have drafted him. The Eagles could have drafted him. And instead they drafted J.J. Arcega-Whiteside before Metcalf was taken.
Yeah.
But he looks like the real deal. Tyler Lockett looks like the real deal.
Yep.
Chris Carson's a no-brainer.
Yeah. But I think that's it as far as, Seahawks.
But it should be a good game. Then we go to Green Bay at New Orleans for the Sunday nighter. Good to see some of these later games being competitive. I know we start off with Miami and Jacksonville, but it gets pretty sweet after that for the night games.
Yeah,
Green Bay and New Orleans. I don't know. New Orleans is going to be awful fired up, and they're in the dome. They play much better in the dome. I think they're going to give Green Bay a good game here.
Still probably no Michael Thomas, which will be a problem for him.
Thomas.
They got Kamara. You're starting him. You're starting Jared. I think Jared Cook is finally in your stardom territory if you have him.
Yeah, I think without Michael Thomas, they have to spread it around a little bit more. Emmanuel Sanders is probably a viable starter with Thomas being out.
Yeah, it's a podcast I listened to today. Like, even though Traquan Smith was the quote-unquote star for New Orleans this past week, Emmanuel Sanders didn't get $16 million to sit and be an observer. He'll be involved. So, yeah, with Thomas out, are you starting him maybe as a flex? But he'll probably be the top target for Breeze.
Yeah, I'm not. I thought about picking up Traquan Smith, and I didn't. But as long as Thomas is out, those guys are going to get some balls.
Yeah.
Then Green Bay, what do you do with the Green Bay receivers? We all know that we're going to start Aaron Rodgers. We all know we're going to start Aaron Jones. But what do we do after that? I know people,
You pick up MVS and put him on your bench?
MVS?
Yeah.
I know some people are starting Alan the Lizard King. I'm not one of those people.
No.
I'm not drinking that Kool-Aid. I don't. Who's the tight end up there?
Mercedes Lewis.
Yeah, meh. Not going there.
Yeah, I mean, I think that the Packers you're for sure starting are Rodgers and Jones. And then once Devontae Adams isn't hurt again,
Two Aarons,
start him.
Aarons, right?
Yeah.
Well, and then we move to the granddaddy of them all, the big grand finale.
Mm-hmm.
And the Ravens. There are going to be a lot of fantasy starters in this game. I imagine a lot of fantasy matchups aren't going to be decided till Monday night this week. You got probably the top two drafted quarterbacks in most leagues in Mahomes and Lamar Jackson. Obviously, those are no-brainers. Kansas City, you got Tyreek Hill.
Yeah.
Tim Kelsey.
Yeah.
Claude Edwards-Helaire. That's probably it. I know
as far as starters, yeah.
Hail Marys on guys like Mecole Hardman. Not really me. I wouldn't do that, but that's how the Chiefs are. You never know. In any given week, somebody could go off, but those are the ones that we mentioned. Tyreek Hill is the cream of the crop on the wide receiver side.
Now, as far as Ravens, I mean, Lamar and as far as people you're starting, Mark Ant that's it.
I can't figure out that running game. You got Dobbins had 2 touchdowns, and last week Mark Ingram had a 30-yard touchdown.
Yeah.
It's kind of like a multi-headed monster, and you just don't know on any given week who's going to be the guy. It's a fantasy quagmire, but it works from a football standpoint pretty good.
And it looks like Hollywood Brown's back in that boom or bust category that we had him in last year.
There's a lot to like about the Ravens upfront. You just don't know who it's going to be. The only guy that you can be 100% sure of is Mark Andrews.
Yeah.
As long as he's healthy, he's going to produce. J.K. Dobbins, I don't think he's starting for too many people. He's too risky. He'll have until one of those guys gets hurt or one guy becomes a bell cow, it's a crapshoot every week. But it's certainly going to be a good football game to watch, and finally, nice to have some marquee night games. I'm really looking forward to these two games. I'd have to stock the fridge this weekend.
Yeah, it's nice to have night games you want to watch.
Yep. Unlike Thursday nighters.
Yeah, Thursday I'm going to watch Thursday simply because it's going to be football. It's going to be the only thing on Thursday night. I'll watch it. I'm not going to like it, but I'll watch it.
But that Green Bay, New Orleans, and that Kansas City, Baltimore, that's a great Sunday and Monday night there.
Yeah, no, I'm loving that Cowboys Seahawks. Like, to me, that's my game of the week. Is that Cowboys Seahawks game is going to be that's going to be a shootout.
Yeah, you know what's not fair is one comment I want to make from watching the games is crowd noise is really lame. I mean, somebody told me, yeah, you know what? He gets the crowd noise right as the NHL. He did a great job with the simulated crowd noise. The NFL is failing miserably. First of all, with the performance we saw out of the Eagles last week, I can tell you that the boos would have been 10 times as loud as on the broadcast and for a lot longer time. They just do this kind of muffled boo for 3 seconds and then it goes away. But also, that's Seattle. They remarked in the game that I think the NFL caps the decibel level of the fake crowd noise at 70 decibels, and I think it's supposed to be 107 in Seattle on a given day. So, this really changes the home advantage, and even Vegas has picked up on it. You get
there is none.
You get a point and a half anymore for being the home team. The only advantage is you don't have to travel like the other team, but that crowd noise, man, that really changed it. But it's the world we live in today. I guess we'll deal with it, and that should help Dallas a little bit, not having to endure that crowd noise. But I expect a great game there, and Aaron Rodgers at the Saints. I think the Saints are going to come back after that Monday night. I think that burned them, and now that they're back in the dome, that's where Drew Brees excels. But no Michael Thomas. No Michael Thomas. That could be a huge factor.
But Drew Brees loves the dome. He does well in the dome.
Yeah, I wouldn't be betting against New Orleans at home after a loss. I think they're going to be super focused.
And of course the predictable chatter all today is up. Breeze is losing a step. Like, how many seasons? I mean, I get it. He's 41, 40. He's like a year younger than Brady. But how many? I think we're on like our third or fourth season in a row. We've been hearing Breeze is losing it. And I think it was like 2 seasons ago, people were like, hey, he's done. And then he had like one of his best seasons he's ever put up.
Well, it's going to be fun to watch.
Yeah.
And again, I think we'll have some good fantasy implications on Monday night. That's always fun when the games aren't decided until the final whistle blows on Monday night. So gear up for a good, exciting week of football. Let's hope let's hope and pray for fewer injuries this week. Last week was brutal. Let's hope the carnage is kept to a minimum. And Jack will be back next week.
Yeah, we should still, in his honor, we should still do some bold predictions.
Bold predictions.
I know Houston did not beat who they played. That was my bold prediction, so I'm like 0 for 2 on mine.
I can't remember what I picked. I thought I picked the Falcons over the Cowboys, which I lost if that's what it was. I'm going to vote. I don't know if this is going to be too bold, but I'm going to say that the Las Vegas Raiders go into New England and come out with the dub. I really like what I saw Monday night. I know it's a short week. I know it's at New England. I just liked what I saw, and I don't know if that's a huge, bold prediction, but I'm going with the Las Vegas Raiders.
Mine, I'm going to say that the Cowboys are going to go into CenturyLink and steal one from the Seahawks. They're going to ride that momentum.
Ooh, I hope not. Well, we'll see. That's a tough place to win normally on the road, but maybe without the crowd they can get it done. But we'll see. I think the Seattle defense should be better than the Atlanta was, but, it's a good pick. I don't think either of us went out on too much of a limb.
No.
But we'll see what happens. So Vegas for me, Dallas for you. And that about wraps it up for this week.
Yep, and it's just remember we're on social media at the Fantasy Hack on Twitter. You can email.
Hey, speaking of that, remember what I posted. You all can look at it, and you can look at the timestamp. What did I write?
Oh, that's right.
I said start Tyler Higbee today. The Eagles linebackers are going to be challenged.
Yeah, and you put up 29-ish fantasy points.
3 touchdowns.
Yeah.
I posted that before the 1 o'clock games, about a half hour before the game started on our Twitter. So
yeah,
check it out. I'll be posting again this week. I'll come up with something.
We like to think we know what we're talking about. So on Twitter at the Fantasy Hack, you can.
I'm only in 11 leagues.
Yeah. You can email the Fantasy Hack at ChristopherMedia.net. And that is where you go if you want to help us out. You click through the Amazon banner. There's a PayPal button there too. You want to help us out, just throw us a couple bucks or whatever, a couple pennies, whatever. PayPal takes all denominations. And then where you look at, we're on Amazon Music now as far as Amazon's now in the podcast game, so you can find us there. You can find us at Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Stitcher, Spreaker.com, wherever there's a podcast, we are there. So set your lineups, and we'll see you next week.
Yep, and look for us on Twitter. You can send in your questions. We'll answer them.
Yes.
About an hour before kickoff Sunday. Good luck, everybody. We'll see you next week.
Look in your home. Look in your office. Look in your home office. Everywhere you turn, there's so much smart. At Capella University, we think education should be smart too. Our game-changing FlexPath format puts you in control of your master's degree, so you can learn how, when, and where you want. Smart, huh? Yeah, we think so too. So if you want to take the next step in your career, make Capella your first step. Visit capella.edu to learn more. Capella University. Don't just learn smarter.
There's a new Home Depot now open on Maurice Avenue in Maspeth. And as home improvement projects go, this is a big one. Use the product locator on our app for an in-store map to find what you need fast. And check out our new pickup lockers. They make online shopping a breeze. Of course, one thing's not new, our everyday low prices. The Home Depot, now open near Maurice Avenue and Long Island Expressway in Maspeth, and always open at HomeDepot.com. The Home Depot, how doers get more done.
Thank you for visiting ChristopherMedia.net.